all the incels out of the pool. This is not for you. Maybe it is.
You can't sit with
You
us.
know what?
Yeah,
Maybe it
it
is.
actually might be.
Actually,
Yeah,
there might be a valuable lesson in here. Welcome to the
exactly.
Devil's Work podcast. My name is Skeptic, and the other man in the other chair, in the other city, in the other county, but it's the same state,
Same state. Same state.
is my man Sideshow.
What's good, yo? Man, I am so fucking excited about this. This is actually a really, really fun one. I'm very excited to get to this one.
Yeah, this was a fun movie to go see, especially with a partner, and
Yeah, yeah. They're
for
billing this one. I wish that they would have dropped this closer to Valentine's because they're billing it as a really
mm,
good one as a date night movie. And I'm
mm.
like, yeah, it is the good one, but like it probably might be they're like less rotation or kind of cycling out by the time Valentine's Day rolls around.
Yeah, probably most places. But
Oh,
it'll probably be on streaming by then. So today
yeah,
we're
hope
doing
so.
a icky little quickie. This is a little bite-sized offering, or at least they are in theory. Sometimes they go pretty long, but
Yeah.
this is like a bonus episode
Yeah.
essentially. So today we are covering a movie by the name of Companion that just came out, and
Yeah.
I know that
Directed
one
by
of the
Drew Hancock. So I know you were gonna what you were going into. So it's the
Yes,
producers of Barbarian. I was
yes,
trying to figure out
yes.
the tie between it, like right before we were recording. So I was like, what the fuck did he have to do with the movie at all? No, it's not him at all. So it's just the
I like
producers.
completely forgot until
hmm
the end of the movie when it said his name, Zach Kreger, and I was like, oh yeah, one of those white
hmm
kids.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the whitest,
Exactly.
Yeah, it's it.
Man,
Go ahead, go
how's that for Jack Quaid that he is now just the de facto incel?
ahead.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's gotta
It's
it's gotta
a
be hard to
101.
get up in the morning and look at yourself in the fucking mirror and be like I'm sure he's getting laid. He's Dennis Quaid's fucking son,
Yeah, exactly.
But
Wow, that's so funny. I actually didn't know that. That's so funny.
it's not a unique last
Uh,
name.
no. I know. I just didn't like. I never considered that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why. It just never hit me. That's so funny though. But yeah, I
His
mean, but his. I don't know. I will say his
holy
performance in
shit,
this was fucking fantastic.
and his mom's Meg Ryan. I was like, I know
That's
his.
wild. That's
I
crazy.
was,
I mean, yeah, Nepo baby, like a motherfucker, but still,
yeah,
the boy
I
can
was like, I
act.
know his mom's someone else famous. No, it's one
Yeah,
of the most famous
the
people,
most famous.
like possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say so. I, I would go into this as blind as possible. I would tell you, like I just like I said, was
Yeah,
the trailer fucking ruins it. Like I know we say that pretty often, but
I didn't see the trailer, so I don't know how I
it
knew.
plays
Like,
before a lot of movies that I was watching over here. So I was like, fuck, I wish it wouldn't because I just saw everything.
here's a little peek behind the curtain. I usually get to the movie theater 25 minutes past the stated
There you
start
go. That's
time, which is the
smart.
actual start
Yeah, it's
time
the
of the
actual smart.
movie.
Yeah, literally.
So we showed up for this one. We like stopped and got food on the way there, and then we went in and we were running kind of late, and literally we like made a joke. We were like, "Oh, we'll have to ask Joey what happened in the first 2 minutes." Then we walked in just in time for "In this place, it's magic."
Yeah, yeah.
And we were like, "Oh shit, perfect timing." Okay.
That was good to
So,
call.
so I don't know how I knew the conceit of this movie going into it, but I totally did. So, like, Amanda asked me, like, "Oh, what is this movie?"
Mm.
And I just went, "Do you know what a chobit is?" And she was like, "No." And I was like, "All right, don't worry about it." And then about 25 minutes into the movie, something happens, and I leaned over and I went, "That's a chobit."
That's so good. Yeah,
That's a strange fucking piece of fiction.
yeah, I like okay, I wish I hadn't known as much as I did going into it because obviously the like days before the week leading up to the actual release of the film, they start dropping the more spoiler heavy shit like to really sell it that you got to get home, get in the seat and like go and check this out. But like the main thing they lead with, I wish they wouldn't have included in the trailer. Like if they hadn't included in the trailer, and I will say in the movie, like we'll get to the movie parts, but there's one bit I wish that they would have like cut in half or like saved for the end to make for like a bigger impact. You know what I mean? That way you kind of just
Hmm.
didn't know what was coming right up top. You know what I mean? Kind of like the trailer did. Like if you saw the trailer, you just know what's gonna happen in this motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wasn't sure, like, up until the part that I had mentioned, because we're still kind of keeping it spoiler free.
Yeah,
Up
yeah.
until the part I had mentioned, I thought that the twist would be done in a different way. So at least I
Mhm.
was still kind of like, oh, all right.
Yeah, like the
But I sort
major,
of knew what was coming.
that's what I'm saying. Like the major conceit of the film is more fun if you do not have any clue walking into it. That's why I
You
think
should just
like
never watch a trailer for any
that's
movie.
true.
Just
Well, I will say some of them are really good. Like the one for the new Cronenberg coming out, which we're absolutely doing an episode on. But the one for the new Cronenberg coming out gave nothing of it. Just those flashes of the movie, fucking gives you the title. And it's like, all right, coming this year. I'm like, bet. That's all I need. That's all I need, baby. That's all I need. But this movie just gave a little too much right off the top. So I will say that was my only issue at the top. We'll go into it and have a little more of an in-depth conversation. But going in blind, if I didn't go in blind like like I did, but if I went in either way, not knowing or knowing what was going on, it's still a fun movie. It still, I think, manages to like stick the landing in so many like great and fun ways. So I had a great time with it. Like right off the bat, I will say, hopefully you've had a chance to go see this. If not, maybe skip this for right now and come back around when you have seen it because it is a lot of fun, but we just have to spoil everything as soon as
go
we
see it
start.
on a Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
I I did, and I thought we went too late to get the discount. We went at like nine
No,
at night, but they still. I was like, damn,
they run
okay,
that shit all night, baby. But
hell
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's worth. I don't know. I think it's worth going in to go see it in a theater. It's a really fun. Like as a theater movie, it held up. I was locked in the entire time. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I went back and forth a few times of like, how much do I think I'm really enjoying this
Mm-hmm.
movie and
Mm-hmm.
what do I really think? Like I don't often just totally slack-jawed like melt into stuff. It's funny because I've been rewatching The Wire this last week. I just randomly was like, I haven't seen this shit in like 12 years,
Yeah,
15 years.
yeah,
Let's run it.
yeah.
And you know how like everything there's always the second screen entertainment. Like if you're not at the movie theater, you're always tempted to
Watching
just
Family Guy.
bring up that like look at your phone. But The Wire, like holy shit, I'll just sit there and just fucking stare at that all day.
Yeah, yeah,
So stands the test of time. Fucking
yeah.
McNutty. But yeah, no, I did like it. I did like it a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's definitely one I sat on as well. Like as soon as I left the theater, I was like, man, I liked it. But did I love it? Like I was just kind of like, did like, and I was kind of thinking about it, and then over like the next couple days, and now as we've been like gearing up to like record this, I do think I loved it. I do think like it's not without its faults, but I do think I had a
It's
great fucking time, and it's worth the watch.
it's one of those like it's not really like I don't think it's really a horror movie. Like having seen it, I didn't really feel horror like for a single second really. But it's not really a mark against it. It's
Yeah.
just
I'd say more sci-fi than anything. Like the director
yeah,
even talked about it even in the interviews. He was like, I would see this more as a romantic drama or romantic comedy more than anything.
yeah.
Like that's how I would sell it. And I'm like, yeah, that works.
Yeah, and there's like some blood, not really any guts, but there's, stuff going on. But
Yeah.
it's just yeah, doesn't just automatically make it horror because it's not really about like being scared or anything. And if
I will
anything, it's
say some of those kills are brutal as fuck though.
oh yeah. But
Yeah.
if it if anything, it's almost kind of like a slasher movie from the perspective of the slasher, which we
Hmm.
saw earlier with A Violent Nature, which
Yeah.
again, I didn't really find to be scary or have any real tension because we didn't really care about the characters and we were just watching Johnny, trek
Yeah, they
through
they
the
were just
forest and
cannon
do.
fodder. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like very, mindless, like
Hmm.
let it wash over you kind of. This is a little more thoughtful sort of version of that idea, but wearing a couple different layers of clothing before you go, oh yeah, I guess it kind of is just like that sort of thing. Like I'm sort of realizing in real time.
Oh yeah, no, like I as soon as I was in it, I was like, oh okay, it's for fans of Ex Machina, the movie Revenge, which was Corey Lee Fargiat's first film, which it's basically just the same setting and like kind of play out as this. It's like sort of a dark, dark, dark comedy, without all the bad stuff that happens in that movie. But it's a fucking like it's yeah, it's Ex Machina, Revenge, and what was the other? Fresh from Hulu, which I don't know if you've seen yet. The
Mm-mm.
Hulu movie. It was
No.
Sebastian Stan's film from I think like 2 years ago. It was really
Bucky.
good. It was really good. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was really good, but like that movie hinges on the twist happening kind of when you're least expecting it, kind of in the same vein as Barbarian, which I can see why the producers chose this project coming off of the heels of that film. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like there's very much a correlation there. They're not at all related, and I think they're kind of very much individual films on their own in their own right. But there are like themes and like kind of comedic beats that I could see where like, oh, okay, someone who found this funny in the first film would find this also amusing in this one. So,
Mhm.
I but it was yeah, it was a really I think it was an interesting way of following up their portfolio from Barbarian with this one.
Yeah, yeah, it does have a similar sort of little feminine flair to it, although it's
Yeah.
more centralized in this. So yeah, I
Yeah.
would have thought
Yeah.
that he was a little more involved in the creative aspect, and he could be. I mean, he's it just as producer, but oftentimes producers also will go like, "Yeah, can you change this little thing in the script, or can you,
Mhm.
direct something this way?" Like they do, they're the money men, so they end up
Yeah,
having
exactly.
a say,
A lot of the say, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, so I
no, so I
wouldn't be
mean
surprised.
I would say, before we start getting into spoilers, which we're about to do, go check it out. If not, I would wait on this one in particular. It's just a fun one. So, but if you don't really care about spoilers, then come along on this journey with us.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Oh yeah.
Trigger warnings, knives, guns, mentions of drugs.
Toxic masculinity.
Hmm.
The most toxicest.
Yeah, some violence against women, like, domestic
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah, very, very much. Yeah, there's a lot of.
Uncool sexual dynamics. There's a essay in the movie.
Is there? I don't remember that.
Yes. Sergey.
Oh yeah, you're completely right. Yeah, a hundred
Yeah.
percent. I forgot. It's just like the inciting incident. You're completely right. Yeah, I would 100%. There are a lot of very uncool. Just the patriarchy. We could just put a cap on that one. With that like that about do it.
Yeah, this is an interesting one for sure. I guess it's time to get into it now. All the kids have
Yeah.
left. So so yeah, this is a movie about a fuckbot.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I knew that because I didn't watch the trailers,
Literally,
but
they say it in the trailer. Like they just say it in the trailer.
that's a that's a shame.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because I'm like, because if I hadn't known that, like going in, it's like that's a lot more fun of a reveal. You know what I mean? It's a lot more hard hitting of a reveal. I'll say that much. Like it's not it hits a lot more because by the time that happened in the movie, I was kind of like, yeah, I know. It's like,
There's
yes.
yeah, and there's a lot of foreshadowing. Like I feel in another movie there might be like two or three instances,
Hmm.
but there's like four or five
So
things
much.
before the reveal
The
where like
dialogue.
his nickname for her is Beep Boop.
Beep boop, yeah.
Like
It's so on the nose.
in what world does that like work? I was 100% waiting for it to say written by Jack Quaid at the end because every male character was 1000% literally just written in Wee Huey's like comedic voice.
That's so funny, yeah.
Like like there were multiple jokes from each of the males where I was like, that's just straight up like a rejected line from the
From the
boys.
voice.
Like there's a part where the I'm forgetting his name, but the short guy, the bigger guy,
Oh, it's Harvey Guillen. I forget his name though. I know Patrick was his partner. I'm looking
his
up.
boyfriend. Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
remember his name
looking
off
up
the top
now.
of my head right now. But yeah, he goes, I gave her two Xanax. Xanax is
Zanai.
Xanai? Well,
Oh,
whatever. I gave her two of them. And I'm like, that is just how Huey
it
talks.
was funny that
And
I
the,
liked it.
and there was a part where
His
they
name
first
was
got
Eli, by the way.
thank you.
Hmm.
When they first get there, Jack Quaid as well goes, I think her and I have different understandings of what the definition of the word remote is, and the word cabin, and the word little. I guess it's a lot of things. And I'm like, this is fuck this you keep making the same joke, and it's a joke that
Yeah.
Huey has made on the boys multiple times.
It's very much, oh, like, Huey from The Boys hears him in another movie. Like, it's very much that. I understand that, but it made it enjoyable for me to see him out of context with, like, without the superheroes. You know what I mean?
He's like, if my mom and dad weren't famous, I don't know what I'd be doing for a living. But yeah, he calls
Yeah.
her Beep Boop.
Hmm.
Sergey calls her a beautiful creation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kat says, "Look who I'm talking to."
She
After
says, "Look,
she's
I'm sorry," and then she also says, "Like, you make me feel replaceable,"
yes, that
which
was
is
like the
very
biggest one.
heavy-handed. I was like, "Come on, man."
Yeah, she's like, "Do you hate me?" And she goes, "I don't hate you. I hate the idea of you.
Idea,
You just
yeah,
make me feel very replaceable."
yeah,
And it kind of made me think like, "Oh, is there like something between is his name Josh in the movie? I feel like
yeah.
it is
Josh,
Josh.
Josh, yeah.
Yeah, Josh. It feels like there's something between Josh and Kat,
Hmm.
but it's really just that they have like the whole scheme. So
Yeah.
what they end up doing is Iris is a robot, and
Hmm.
Josh basically jailbreaks her, and they set her up to go somewhere where Sergey will be. And Sergey is the guy whose cabin they're at. Kat is the friend who invited them.
He owns the entire lake, he reminds her.
Yeah, no, no, not the lake, just all the land
All the
around
land
it.
around it. So good.
Ridiculous. And so Kat is like his, girlfriend, sugar baby kind of thing.
Hmm.
She invites a bunch of her friends to his cabin to party. But the true idea is that Josh has like jailbroken her, hacked her, and sent her to where Sergey is. And Kat told Sergey, "Oh, she likes consensual non-consent. Basically, just go
Hmm.
for it."
Hmm.
Because he tells her like, "Oh, Kat said that you would like fight, but like this is what you do. This is what you're made for."
Yeah.
So they probably told him like it's a robot. She's not,
Yeah.
not that that makes it okay, but it does seem the logic is, yeah, you can, grape a robot and
Hmm.
no one's gonna care because it's not a person. Weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
At the very least, it's real fucking weird.
Well, because it's also like, I don't know, because
You know?
there's a lot of that, but
Put it
there's
lightly.
yeah, there's a lot of that, but there is also like a lot of heavy-handed tones of like men seeing women as simply as objects and stuff, and so
Yes.
I see how that translates to that logic. You know what I
Well,
mean in the
well,
film?
there's guys who literally say when this technology is a real thing, your days are numbered, ladies, and they're just
Mhm.
like, "Good, come in the toaster." I'm it's not happening with me. So by all fuck, boo hoo.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. God damn,
I
fucking
literally know a
hilarious.
guy. I literally know a guy at my job who he wanted to work with this nonprofit, and he knows someone at this nonprofit, and he's telling me when I first worked there, he's like, I keep asking, but we haven't been able to set something up, and I've known this girl since high school. And I'm like, oh, really? And he had like just got done telling me that his partner he's with, they've been together for like 10 years. And
Mhm.
he's like, yeah, I've had a crush on this girl ever since high school. I've asked her out like over 1,000 times. She always says no. And I'm just like, what? Like, what?
Yeah,
After like,
yeah,
after one time, I'm done. But
yeah,
after
yeah.
like,
Exactly. Like point taken.
but after like three times, I
Yeah,
feel like that's like, okay, if you really want to say like, what's the maximum? After three times, pack it up, buddy.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Then it just becomes a crime.
Yeah. So I'm just sitting there like, I don't think she likes you, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Just don't think she's that into you.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, I think she did. I think when you call her fucking vagina withers up and falls off of her body.
God
So,
damn it.
holy shit, dude. Yeah, she's turned me down over 1,000 times, but now I'm
Oh
expecting
man.
something out of her on a professional level. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, she
yeah.
hates your guts, bro.
I do. And then on that same like thought though too. I remember in the film there's a scene towards the end, I think it's the text when they're talking about they're like, "Oh yeah, like he's it's the older guy talking to the new guy." And he's like, "Oh yeah, all the sick shit you see on this job, like all the ones that are strangled up and like
That
tied up and
was
fucked up and shit." He's like, "You just
that
get used to it." I was
that
like,
was
"Jesus."
not that part of it, but that part of the movie in a whole was like the funniest part of the entire movie because
Yeah.
basically their whole thing is the laws of robotics. They can't
Hmm.
harm people. They
Hmm.
can't harm each other. Companions are, meant to be docile. So they put a knife in her pocket. They hacked her programming and they put her in a situation where she had to defend herself. So she ends up killing him.
Yeah, I
And
missed the
that
part where it was Josh that slipped her the knife.
I
I
don't think
I
we see
complete
it.
yeah, it is when it's when he's hugging her. But it's
Mm.
yeah, I completely missed that. I was like, how the fuck did she get the knife?
Well, I didn't. I don't know if we actually.
I think it had it like that's what I'm saying. It's one of those things that happens so because I watched a couple of reviews on it and they're all yeah, they say like when he hugs her, he slips to the knife.
I figured it was just one of those things in a movie where they just tell
Just
you
gotta
later.
gotta go through the logic, yeah.
Yeah, like you can't really pickpocket people the way they do in movies, so they
Yeah,
just
yeah, for sure.
they just bump into each other, then walk several feet away and go, "Meh," and like
Yeah.
they're not trying to like. So
Yeah.
I figured similar thing there, but yeah, so she kills him, and the whole plan was we're gonna do this. We're gonna wipe her programming. We're gonna blame it on her. Then we're gonna rob this motherfucker blind for millions and millions of dollars, and we're gonna get away with it because we're just gonna blame it on this robot.
Mhm.
So they go through all this stuff. They chase her throughout the movie. She doesn't really kill people. They just sort of get killed.
Yeah, it's not well because he turns her aggression up, but it literally doesn't end. It only ends with Sergei's death. That's the only one who gets killed really in the
Well, Eli
beginning.
get Eli gets killed too, but that she didn't really murder him. That was like a struggle over a gun.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah,
That's okay. So then
and
you're
he's
right. It is
actively
kind of
trying.
circumstantial too. Yeah, for sure. Whereas with Patrick, it's just murder.
Yeah, when they reveal that Eli, because there's this whole thing with these like meet cutes, where at the beginning she has this whole they're in a grocery store and he knocks over all the oranges and it's
Hmm.
all embarrassing but humanizing, and then we hear the story from Eli that he was like dressed up as a dinosaur and Patrick was a vampire at a Halloween party, and they bumped into each other at the punch table, and that's how they met each other and stuff. Um, so we get revealed later that Patrick is a companion as well,
That
And
reveal was so good, by the way. I
I
genuinely
I
just
didn't think
didn't.
so either.
I just didn't even like. I didn't see it coming.
I
I
just
didn't.
figured she would be the only one. I didn't
Yeah.
think
But
they
like it was funny because it was clever because it's hidden in the joke. Like it's literally like he says, "Oh, why should we split the money four ways if we're cutting you in on this?" And he's like,
yeah.
"Well, because there's four of us." And he's like, "What? Patrick doesn't count." And then he like he's like really to his face, like right in front of him, and I was like cracking up at that. And then when he says like Patrick, go to sleep, I was like, oh shit! Like
No, us
it's
too.
like
Like the whole
yeah,
like the whole theater.
yeah. The
Everybody
whole
was
theater was fucking like, what the fuck? That was crazy. It's
yeah.
so clever. It was extremely well done.
Yeah, I didn't expect that, and further, I didn't expect them. So they have a whole thing where they mentioned the like reset function on the
Yeah,
companions.
yeah.
So he resets Patrick and makes himself Patrick's like love
The love
interest,
interest. Yeah.
and then and so we see the whole punch bowl thing again, but with Josh in it instead of
Mm-hmm.
Eli, and then he hacks him as well and puts his aggression up to 100%, and he ends up killing a cop at one point, which makes
Best kill of the movie.
yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
Absolutely.
And then he makes the Terminator 2 illusion complete by dressing
Yeah.
up like a cop. You
Yeah.
you I'm sure you thought that.
I did not, but you're so right.
They
That's
straight
so
up
funny.
speed
Yeah.
ran Terminator 1 and
Yeah.
2.
That's so fucking funny. Yeah, you're totally right. It totally
Oh,
is.
there's a good gag too because she ends up getting the phone and like the app is what controls her.
Hmm.
So she turns off the voice command for herself. She
Yeah.
turns her intelligence all the way up.
Yeah.
And when she sees that her intelligence is only set to 40%, she
It's
goes,
like, really?
"Yeah, are you fucking kidding me?" So she sets her intelligence all the way up, and then when she runs into this cop, she's scared that she's
Oh,
gonna
it was
get caught.
so good. That
So
was
she
such a good
changes her
scene.
language to German, and he's like, "Can you speak English?" And she goes, "Well, yes, I can. But that's why I changed my voice setting to German because I'm unable to lie." And he
Yeah.
goes, so that's a no, huh?"
Oh, good. That scene was so fucking funny, dude. Like, that's what I'm saying. The comedy is so well done. Like, all of them as comedic actors, fantastic, phenomenal. Like, I loved Sophie Thatcher too. Like, in what was it? I know she's in Yellow Jackets, but also what was it? Heretic, which I really wanted to do a quickie on. And I really fucking love Heretic. I saw it twice. It's such a fun movie. But yeah, she was really funny in that movie as well. But like eh, again, as like a competent lead, she's so well, like she sells it so hard in that film and in this one, I will say. Uh, but yeah, seeing her act across like Harvey Guillen and like and what's his name? I we keep calling him Huey. What is that guy's name?
Jack
Jack
Quaid.
Quaid. Yeah, Jack Quaid. So her acting across like people who are actually like very comedically talented. Like Harvey Guillen is amazing. What We Do in the Shadows, such a phenomenal show. Like genuinely fucking hilarious. Have you seen that show?
No, I've seen the movie, but I haven't
Oh,
actually seen the show.
hard recommend. Cannot recommend it
I've heard a lot of
just
good
for
things. I
him.
I love Matt Berry.
It's oh so funny, dude.
If you've never seen Toast of London and you want more Matt Berry,
Yeah, yeah, it's
oh
so good. Yeah, no, for sure.
yes,
No,
Clem Fandango.
it's so, dude, that show is fucking phenomenal. You would love it. Absolutely, you'd love it. And like that's why I was excited because I loved him
You know
in
who
that show.
directs the show, right?
Is it? Well, no, it's not. Oh my God, what's his name? Taika
It's
Waititi?
Kyle. No, it's Kyle Novacek.
Oh, I have no idea who that is.
It's Kyle from Workaholics.
Oh no shit, really?
Yeah,
No shit, I didn't
he
know.
directs the show.
That's
God, what
crazy. We're
I
getting
think
off the rails here, but it is very
Kyle
much.
Newacek. That's his name.
There we go. But yeah,
It,
I was excited about the movie because of Harvey Guillen being in the film because I love him, and like, and then genuinely one of the better parts of this movie. His performance in this film is phenomenal. Like that was such a great scene with them in the forest right before like his death. Such a great little scene. Really, really strong
Oh
performance.
yeah, when he's like, I know I'm a robot. You don't have to like try to hide
Yeah.
it from me. And he's like,
Yeah.
how do you know? And he's like, I fucking figured it out.
Yeah.
Like
It's so good. It's genuinely really, really well acted. And that moment actually made me choke up a bit. It was really well done. I was like, this is fucking solid acting. Like, but I was just laughing like 10 minutes ago, and then I'm fucking like on the verge of tears in a horror comedy. It's so it's so awesome that this film could do that. That's why I was like that performance midway through, like that was when I was kind of like on the fence about like, because I was like, okay, we have the set of circumstances, we have everything in it, but I still wasn't sure if I was like hooked in the movie yet. You know what I mean?
that's
And then that scene hit. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm in. That's it.
that scene is like the exception to the rule, which is that, like I said, kind of I feel like a lot of the dialogue wasn't like very good.
Mhm.
Uh, but some of it was okay. And that scene was definitely um among the better dialogue.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know,
I
that
thought
they poured it all into that scene.
I was gonna say I really you know what, Kat's performance, I forget her name. Let me look that up. She's right here. Megan Surrey. Yeah, Kat's performance was also one that was interesting because first off, you starting off feeling one way about her. You're like, oh, she's just like whatever. She just feels like shitty towards Iris, and like, therefore she's supposed to be the antagonist. And then like you figure out what they're doing, and then like when the shit goes down, she's the only one with like a level head about her as soon as the shit starts falling apart. And she also revealed that was great too, when she's like, I never told you that Sergey was in the mob. You just assumed that, and I never
Yeah,
corrected you.
which is a really stupid, understated, and non-explained joke, which that it sounds like an insult, but hold on. I'm actually praising it because they never circle back around to it.
Yeah.
And I feel like in most scripts they would go, "Wait, is that what you meant when you said he has his hands are dirty?"
Yeah, 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 for sure.
That's
Exactly.
what she said early on when he's
Literally.
like he's a bad
Yeah.
guy, right? And she's
Hmm.
like, "Yeah, trust me, his hands are very dirty,"
Yeah,
or
literally.
something like
And
that.
it
And
was
and
literally
then
because he made money off of buying like soil or something like that, like actual
yes,
like so literally
literal
soil.
sod, I believe is
Yeah,
what
it
they
was
said,
sod,
which is
yeah.
like soil and something mixed
Yeah.
in to be
So funny
like
though.
good for growing shit in or whatever.
Yeah,
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 that
but they never, yeah, you're
fucking
right. It was low hanging fruit and they didn't go for it. I respect it.
yeah, yeah, they didn't go back to like say that they just like left it there for you to like
Hmm.
deal with, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It was solid. It was like, I think the setup feels almost like a Corky Romano premise. Like something set in that world, like a goofy set of circumstances and like, like mishaps and whatever. And then like, and
Hmm.
also I was gonna say, Good
Would you
Boy.
guys like some cookies?
Yeah. This also very much
That
reminded me
hey,
of Good Boy.
that's a pretty good
It
Corky
was a
Romano
good
for a guy who has who hasn't thought about Corky Romano in fucking 70 years.
it's a very, yeah, very dated movie. Very
It's
dated film.
yeah. Hey
So
guys, want some
the
cookies?
God damn it. So it was but it's a solid film. I think what was it? Because God damn it, you made me lose my fucking track of thought.
I'm sorry.
We were just fucking what were we just talking about? We were just talking about like that goofy set of circumstances. That's what it was. It's a good premise, and it also reminded me of Good Boy, the film. It
Mm.
very much reminded me of that like
In
tense, like jokey kind of stuff going on early on. But it felt like again, all of those things kind of blended into one. I'm not saying it's a one to one with Good
on
Boy. I'm just saying there was like hints of
No,
it in
no,
there.
no. I'm not shaking my head at you. I'm shaking my head at myself for having the thought of like this and Good Boy and God, let me think of some of the other comedic kind of ones that we've covered recently. But
Oh.
basically, having like a comedy horror dark universe MCU sort of thing,
Hmm.
where like the guy in the dog suit and fucking like Art the Clown
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
companion robot,
Hmm.
like they're all
Yeah.
coming together
There's
for
definitely
fucking.
there's definitely a like a Royal Rumble situation going on there.
Oh, and the ref is the Crypt Keeper. Bring him back. Oh, get the Zombievers in there.
Yeah, yeah. I get the zombie verse. Fuck yeah, dude. But I okay, I would and then the initial flip, that's what I'm saying. Not Amanda went in like completely blind about this one, right? Like she had no idea.
hmm
So when the flip happened of what's it called? When he tells her like go to sleep and then like the eyes turn white, how did she feel about that one? Because I'm curious to hear about someone who wasn't prepared for that. You know what I mean?
So let me back it up a little.
Hmm.
At the beginning of the movie, she says, uh, "There are two moments in my life where I felt this whole like I
Thank you
was
for
in this
bringing it
I
up.
was in this haze and everything was, worthless and meaningless and like what is my life truly for?" And I've had two moments in my life where all of that, like the meaning and the purpose, has like really crystallized and been like so poignant and obvious.
Hmm.
And the first is when I met Josh, and the second is when I killed him.
Hmm.
So you're kind of thinking for the first little while in the movie too. I'm like, okay, so who's gonna be the robot? For some
Hmm.
reason, I wasn't thinking already like, oh, it's gonna be her. I think because the meet cute thing threw me off.
Oh,
So
okay,
so even
fair.
like
That's fair.
knowing going into it, I was like, oh well, they had this whole like meet cute, so she's obviously not. But
Hmm.
we find out the workaround for that later, which is that they put these in them, so then they'll go, "What do you mean I'm a robot? I remember meeting
Yeah,
you."
yeah,
Like
yeah.
just programming fail
Hmm.
safes. Um, so I was thinking for a while, and I think the movie is really filmed in this way, that she was an existential threat. And like when she's like, "Oh, I just want to go upstairs and shower," she like opens her bag and she's looking around in there and she's moving stuff around and the camera's like
Slowly
creeping
zooming
towards
in
it.
on
So
the chip.
so I was expecting her to like pull out knives or something and like go put them somewhere, and that it was like setting up that like she was there to kill everyone. And then when
Yeah, very
she
misleading in that. Wow, I didn't think about it that way, but yeah, you're totally right.
when she's attacked by Sergey, it cuts to all of them in the house, and then it she walks in and she's just absolutely covered in blood, holding the knife, and they're all like, "What the fuck?" So I was like, "Oh, so now she's just gonna start going after everyone."
Hmm.
And then we get a little bit of a flashback showing her and Sergey struggling, but she's like telling the story and then it's showing it. And at first, it doesn't seem like it lines up. So I thought, like, because he's like knocked out, she hits him with the bottle and he hits his head. So
Yeah,
I was like, oh, wow, she's just going to carve this guy up for fun after already incapacitating him. But
yeah.
it ends up being that she was really defending herself. So
Hmm.
there's just all this. I was like, is she here to kill them? And she's taking her shot. At first, it doesn't seem
Fair.
like she's telling the truth. But then as you see it, you're like, oh, no, she was really fighting for her fucking life.
Hmm.
All these things. And then he comes up and does the reveal of Iris go to sleep. And yeah, when I turned to go, that's a Cho bit. Like her jaw was dropped. She was like, "What the fuck?"
Okay, that's cool. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the impact that this movie has when you don't know what the fuck is coming. Like, that really happened. But I feel like when you bring up that line, that's the line I wanted to like come back around to. I wish that they would have not included the second was the day that I killed him. I wish that
I
they would have cut that like little part, like if the second day was and then like dot 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 and then hit like a title card or something like that. Give me something and then like then circle back to that in the end. That line of dialogue and then finish that out. You know what I mean? The second one's the day I killed him. Because the whole movie, I'm like, okay, he dies, but how, how is that gonna happen? But so I was just kind of expecting it the entire movie, so that just kind of in the moment soured me to the experience. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
it wasn't anything enough to detract because again, I the entire ride was a great fucking time. So it wasn't
Yeah.
anything that was like too big of a takeaway for me. I just wish that that little bit of dialogue would have been like taken out in the beginning to not but the way you just described it and like saying that the movie feels like it's kind of misleading you towards like, oh, she might be there for nefarious reasons or something like that. You're completely right. I do agree with that. That's why I'm kind of like second guessing that feeling. But even then, I still feel like maybe it would have worked better if we hadn't had, and the second day was when I killed him.
Yeah, but I will say by the end of the movie when it turns into so at first it's they're going up to here to this cabin, who knows what's going to happen, and then it's Sergey attacks her and she's tied up. She escapes, she gets the phone, she turns off her voice commands and everything. They start chasing after her. And then they sick Patrick on her.
Hmm.
And after they sick Patrick on her, pretty much everyone is dead at that point, except for Kat and Josh. And then Kat goes to leave, and he forgets that he has the aggression turned all the way up, and he tells Patrick to stop her. So Patrick stabs her in the spine.
Yeah, dude, that was a good scene though. Like I was like, because
That
it
was
was not,
wild.
yeah, because it was again not one that they were like, it wasn't a punchy like big huge reveal or anything. It was just a quick like snip, and then she was
Yeah.
like,
It was
"What the
like
fuck?"
very,
Like,
very unceremonious. And then he's like,
yeah,
Cat, oh my God. And she literally says, don't. Just fucking don't right now. Like, I don't want
mm-hmm.
to hear. She's like, I'm dying. I don't want to hear your little fucking whiny bitch voice, too.
Yeah, dude. Oh, dude, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Her performance right there in that scene specifically was what made me love her in this film. I was like, no shit, you really like, she turned it all the way on at the end there. It was really, really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Um,
it was like sad though, like kind of sad just because like you see, like you're like, ah, fuck, like she really was the only level-headed one in the fucking building at this point.
well, kind of, but it was also her plan in the first place. Like, I really like on a performance level, of course, it
Mhm.
was very good.
Oh
On a
yeah.
character level, in terms of like the
If
likability,
you
not
felt bad or whatever for her, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
not a quality thing,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
simply I didn't like the
yeah.
character. She seemed like a terrible person. So when it happened, because she purposely misled him to make the murder happen, and the murder
Yeah.
was her plan
Hmm.
to rob this guy.
Hmm.
So yeah, I didn't like her as a person, but I think the writing and the character and the acting was well done.
Yeah.
You have to be
Yeah.
very
Very clear and distinct.
specific.
Yeah, very yeah,
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 yeah.
absolutely. I get you. I get you. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, but then after she takes Eli gives her the Xanax, she actually takes them, and
That shit was
he's
funny.
like,
She's
what
like,
the fuck? And she's like, I'm not gonna
I'm
say
not gonna not
no.
take Xanax.
Yeah,
That was fucking hilarious. That's
Jesus
what I'm saying,
Christ.
dude. Like everyone was fucking performing on such a great level. Like the guy who plays Patrick, let me see his name. Lucas Gage. Dude was fucking bringing it, man. He was such a good part of this movie.
Oh man,
Such a good part.
when the so kind of like I was saying earlier, she goes on the run. They
Hmm.
send Patrick after her. Patrick captures her. Patrick kills Kat. And then they have this whole protracted, fucked up, like torturous dinner thing going on. And so I
Yeah.
kind of forgot that she was going to kill him. Like for a minute, I was like, oh,
Hmm.
he's gonna end up like winning to a degree.
That's fair. They do
Uh,
put it like right up top, so it does give you a lot to like
Time to forget
digest
it.
after that. Yeah, and like yeah, time to forget it. You're right.
Yeah, and so um, the techs from the robot company, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. It's like Empathex or something. It's like
Yeah, 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 something like that.
something with like empathy or
Hmm.
empathics. That's what it's
Empathics.
called.
Yeah, yeah,
Fuck, I was so close for being
yeah,
so far.
yeah.
Um, It's in the intonation. So they show up and they're like, "Oh yeah, just asking some questions. That's crazy. She killed somebody. That's fucked up. Don't worry, we're gonna take care of her." And he gets her to shoot herself in the head. So you
Oh
think she's
yeah,
she's
but yeah, I was
dead.
gonna say, so before they even show up and they're doing that little like dinner party thing, again, wish they had not included that scene in the trailer. They lead with that scene and it's just like
Mm.
it gives everything
That's
away.
the
They give
unfortunate thing. If you
just
take
like
all the interesting parts of the movie, there's nothing left for us to give a shit about.
mm-hmm. Well,
That's.
cut the trailer like a romantic comedy then. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like cut it like that and then make people go in and be like, "What the fuck was that?" You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
do it that way or lean into it. You know what I mean? Like it could have
Hmm.
been done differently. That's my whole thing. Was just
No,
like
I agree. I
yeah, I
agree.
really
It's
wish that they just had on the that scene alone, the head like I get it, it's such strong imagery, and I know that you want to lead with that, but it's like resist that urge, if you can. Like, don't be afraid. I know it's because specifically this was distributed by Warner Brothers. So they were just like, fuck no, we're not doing that.
yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
I know. Yeah.
They're like, we're not risking refunds and a missed
Yeah,
target audience. We're
for
just
sure.
telling them what it is. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
unfortunate thing. Money is involved in everything, so you
Yeah.
can't. It's very hard to make a pure creative choice
100%.
unless you're fucking Brandon Sanderson and you don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
So, like that's what I'm saying. It's like, but it would have worked so much better if I hadn't seen the candle scene. If I hadn't seen that candle scene in the trailer, I would have been like,
Mm.
"Fuck, that's
Wow. So they
awesome."
showed all of that. They
They
showed like
showed
her
the
arm on
entire.
fire.
They did literally the candle. He puts it over there, and then he's just like, "Put your hand over there," and then like, yeah, they show the entire thing, and I was just like, "Come on,
I mean,
man!"
I think what they should have done is probably just had her put her hand over it and then cut to a title card and then showed some other imagery from the movie and then,
Exactly, exactly. That's
not
what I'm
show her
saying.
whole arm melting
On
and stuff.
fire, yeah.
Just
That's what I'm
her
saying.
sad and scared doing what he's saying and you're just like, what
Yeah,
the fuck is why? Why would you,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, because they did a great job. Like you're exactly right. They do a great job, and I think that's the marketing strategy from Barbarian doing its job as well. Like where they led with the trailer, they
Mm,
do the whole dinner scene where Patrick's laying out the plates, laying out the
mm,
candles and everything, and it sets it up really well, really fucking well. But then you see the handcuffed hand to the chair, and I was like, that's all you need. Like that is all you need to make this a shocking film. Like that's all you need, or a shocking trailer. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's a great hook on its own. You don't need anything past that, but they went too
Yeah.
much over the line. You know what I mean? So
Well, they'll never involve the creatives in the money decisions,
yeah,
unfortunately.
but
So,
like I said, if so, hopefully that like this doesn't this reaches people who haven't seen it yet and are able to like watch this without going and having seen a trailer like Amanda, and
mhm.
it hits that much harder because that is such good imagery. But you're right. Like it's ultimately, it kind of is like the money is involved at that point, and like they're like, we're
Yeah.
not gonna not show that. The fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, it's
So
stupid.
I get that, but yeah, ultimately, I just wanted to bring that up because that was another one. That was my second gripe about the film. I was just
No,
like,
no, that's
fuck,
fair.
please, like, like
That's
just cut trailers better, man. Do better, be better. We can do this. I
yeah.
believe in us.
Yeah,
But yeah,
definitely.
so they sorry, I cut you off. So they
No,
get
it's
to the
okay.
play, they get to the home and then they ask him like the fuck.
Yeah, yeah. They ask him what happened, and he's like, "Well, all this shit." And then the cop showed up, and she shot herself in the fucking head. And the guys who work on and build and maintain the robots are like, "Whoa, that's crazy." Anyway, we'll take her back. We'll
Yeah.
get her to legal. And they shouldn't have said this. We're gonna check the footage. And he's
Hmm.
like, "Footage?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's been recording everything ever since you first fucking bought her, you dumb
Yeah.
piece of shit.
Yeah.
And the hard drive is in her little tum tum. It's not in her head."
Those
This
are
we're
like where
like,
the antennas are and shit.
yeah. So he's like, she's not a human being, idiot. And they go load her up into the car, and the young guy who I recognize, like, fuck, I need to look up who that actor is and what else he's been
I'm
in.
I'm on it.
Um, I think he might have been in a M Night movie. I think he might be an old.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, I don't know why I think that, but
Woody Foo?
Jamie, look it up. Um,
Yeah.
But
I know Matt McCarthy is the other guy.
he says like, so what do you think happened? And the older guy turns to him and goes, "Oh, he modded her, bro. That guy's fucked."
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
just
it's so
the just the
yeah,
way
it's
he's like, yeah, he used her for a murder, dumbass. Like,
it's so good.
and,
It's so well delivered, man. It's so good.
he's like, yeah, fucking obviously.
Yeah, that's what he tells him. He's like, yeah, all the shit you see on this job, it's fucked up. Like, you get used to it. Don't worry.
God, so ridiculous. But yeah, just the way he goes, that guy's fucked.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like
So
when you're
funny.
driving down the freeway and some guy fucking cuts you off and then you like get into another lane and you're like, what a dick. And then he rear ends somebody and you're
Yeah,
just like,
yeah,
that
yep.
guy's
That guy's
fucked.
fucked. Yep, absolutely.
Just like wonderful,
And then
fantastic.
yeah, and then they just go full fucking Terminator and just like he six the
Yeah.
T 900 9000 whatever the fuck it is on her.
It also had a weird Force Awakens vibe because they're just like fighting in the dark woods.
Force
It's really
Awakens. That's
unfortunate that I
so
thought
funny.
about that piece of shit, but here we are. Um, Fucking three Death Stars. Are we kidding now? Really? This is the third time. I'll stop. I'm sorry. Um, she's never used a lightsaber
Oh
in her
man.
life. I'm sorry.
It's a
I'm
different
sorry.
show. It's a
Han's just
different
gonna
show.
stand. I'm sorry.
It's
Uh,
a
I love The
different
Last
show.
Jedi though. Anyway,
Oh man, that's funny.
um, no, but they
Uh,
fight in the woods, and then she like appeals to his humanity, which shouldn't work, but like whatever. Who cares?
she
You
has
know?
the intelligence up at this point, though, right? Still, I think.
No, he
Oh
dropped.
no, so that's yeah,
He
that was the plot
oh
hole that I
oh
was
oh
like,
no
what the
no no no.
fuck?
He drops her to zero, and then
Yeah.
oh, that's right, because she's
She's just dropped at zero when she shoots herself. That's what I'm
oh
saying.
no no, it's because they plugged her in and they rebooted her to factory
Oh, got it,
settings.
got it, got it, got it.
So
Okay,
she
that
so
makes
she,
sense.
so that's
Got
yeah,
it.
because they plugged her into the van. She comes out on her factory settings, and that's
Got
why
it.
she can't hit Patrick.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And and
Okay.
and then
Now that's all of this is making a lot more sense now that you're
yeah.
re-explaining this to me. Okay, because at first I was like, wait, what the fuck? Wait, how?
And then she quotes Patrick back to himself and appeals to his humanity, and he fucking
hmm
blows his brains out.
Yeah, dude bites the fucking taser. That shit was crazy. It
That was
was like,
hardcore.
yo, what the fuck? Oh, and
Yeah,
by the way, he is Lucas Gage is from Euphoria. I should have fucking known. Like literally every single
young
movie we've
actor.
covered, every single movie we've covered in a quickie now has someone from Euphoria in it. It's so fucking funny, dude. That's just
Yeah,
it's so funny. Anyway, but yeah, yeah. But Lucas
that
was such a good fucking part of this movie. Solid fucking actor, solid. I'm cannot wait to see what else he's gonna do. And I love that everyone's exploring their wings within horror. You
yeah,
know, so
yeah,
cool.
definitely. And then he gives her autonomy. He gives her like 100%
hmm
everything and total freedom, and she can do whatever she wants. And they they get into the final fight, her and Josh, and finally we see Schrodinger's
The wine
automatic
opener.
wine corker.
Yeah, yeah.
That was fucked up.
That was great.
That's,
I love how they did it because I was like, okay, they keep there's a huge emphasis on this right now. What is this coming back finally?
and all I could think is I don't drink wine, but Amanda does, and occasionally she'll be like, "Can you help me open this?" And I'll just be like, "Jesus fuck, man! Like,
Yeah,
why are
it's a
we still
kind of
doing this archaic
yeah.
bullshit?" And literally, I saw that and I was like, "Oh, that might be a good like
It's a good
Valentine's
yeah. I was gonna say
birthday."
Valentine's. Yeah,
Get her a little auto wine corker, and really, it's for me so that I don't have to do that shit.
so
But the
funny,
but the way it like drills in and then it
dude.
pressurizes
It's
and then
his eye is
it
fucking
pops.
crazy. Yeah,
And the way as it's drilling into his head, you can see like the little bit
the
of
blood like starts puddling in his eyes, and then it just like oh, it's so
yeah, when it does
good,
the
dude. Yeah, dude, it fucking oh, it's so it's that's what I'm saying. that and the cop just getting his fucking face turned into ground meat was
Absolutely bashed in.
insane, dude. I loved
Yeah.
it. So much fun. Like those I now right now I know it's still very early in the year, but right now, best kills of the year so far in
That's
horror.
funny.
Like best kills of
That's
the year. Like
that's extremely unfair, but I'll let you have it. It's gonna last for about
I'm
4 minutes,
I'm
but
just saying, yeah, yeah, exactly. We got a lot of good horror coming out this year. I know.
yeah, I'll give you that one for now. You are
The bar is set, ladies and gentlemen.
how's this for a reference? You are technically correct, which is the best form of correct.
That's right.
I
I
say
love
that
that.
I say that shit all the time at
I
work, and
love
none of
that.
my coworkers have a fucking soul or a sense of humor, so they don't get it at
A
all.
solar sense of humor.
Neither.
Oh man, but yeah. So like, I did like her getting this ended up being very much a good for her, and I like that that was kind of literally her getting her autonomy back literally at the
Hmm.
end was the whole wraparound to this. That's what made it Ex Machina. It just made it Ex Machina.
And then she just took millions of dollars at the end.
Yeah, it's so cool. The changing her voice bit, like the deepening and like dark, the mimicking his voice when she's in the car was great. I liked like how they were doing that. I was like, that's pretty clever, because I was like, how are they gonna use all of this, like the eye color and all that shit, like being able to customize all those things. It was
Hmm.
very, again, it was a very effectively done. It's a very like efficient movie. You know what I mean? They don't like all of the there's no plot holes really. Everything wraps up really nice. It's all really well really well contained. But I thought it was great, man. I had a great fucking time. What was your favorite moment of the film, would you say?
Um, Probably all the Terminator 2 stuff. I thought
Right?
that was well
Right?
done. I mean, it's wild that 40 fucking years later, people are still just like eating out on Terminator 2 references, and that literally when you do the guy but evil or the monster is now good but he's got to fight an eviler version of himself, it's
Mhm.
just inherently Terminator 2 or Spider-Man and Venom.
Yeah.
Those are the two things that you equate.
Archetypes, yeah.
If it's an evil version, you might lean more towards Spider-Man Venom.
Yeah.
If it's you know, the avatars are evil now,
Mhm.
then you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of a fucking, Terminator 2 situation.
Yeah.
The thing that was in the first movie is now the threat in the second movie, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed that. It was done well without being like too heavy-handed, and they even got away with dressing him up in a black
That
police
was so
uniform.
goddamn fun. Yeah, you're totally right. Now that you pointed it out, I'm like, oh my god, it was fucking obviously
And
speed running Terminator 1 and 2.
he might even if you
Oh,
really
it's
pay
so
attention
funny.
and compare, he might have like a Robert Patrick hairdo going on.
Yeah, yeah, right. Like, yeah, I love that. I will say my favorite part of the film goes back and forth. It really is the performances, and I specifically liked Eli's performance in this. Harvey Guillen really stole the show for me in this movie. Like,
Oh, he was very funny and charismatic.
yeah, and that was the thing too. It was complex. Like I like that he plays complex pretty well because like you don't know how to feel about his character, like as a
The,
person, you know.
I appreciate that there was a gay couple very central in the film
Hmm.
that was overall like, very hetero, obvious. Like, I don't know. I feel like the guy who wrote it probably, if you got to lean one way or the other, I would assume it's a straight guy that wrote it, you know.
Yeah.
But in a way where it wasn't like it was so appropriate and delved into without making it weird and like
Hmm.
really just done well on that level without, I don't know, sometimes it comes off like preachy or like, oh, look at me, I put gay people in my
Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
or like, don't come for me, I put gay people in my movie, so obviously all the weird shit I'm about to have them do
Yeah.
doesn't matter
Yeah.
because I included them, so
Included.
shut, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
I will
just
say that like the like dynamic between him and Patrick was the part of this movie that makes it the romantic comedy. Like not I don't really like the other stuff between the two characters. Was it Iris and Josh? That wasn't what made this movie a romance, and you could kind of tell that immediately. Like it feels cold and it feels like played for laughs.
well, they even show like when you don't know that she's the robot yet.
Mm,
And this probably hit differently for both of us because I knew there was a robot in it. You
hmm.
knew she was the robot.
Yeah,
So when they have sex, when they get to the cabin, like
which was
on the first
hilarious.
night, he just like and then rolls over
This fucking O
and
face.
she's like, Josh, and he's like, go to sleep, shut
Goes to,
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was like, that's crazy for a guy who, by all rights, should be paying extra for it. Not just paying for it, but they should be like, oh, yeah, you shit your pants last time, buddy. So it's gonna be twice the rate, you know? Um,
Yeah, yeah,
it, it-
100%.
and then also like he says to her, he's like, I forget what exactly he says, but he says something about like, oh, we could like go home and you can like give me a back rub and make me dinner or something like that. Or maybe
Yeah.
Eli says that to Patrick, but there's all this messaging in both relationships where it's like, even though Eli says like, oh, I'm in love with you, blah, blah, blah. I think that's kind of about, you know, less sweet and pure and more about how like men can easily convince themselves that like they'll treat a woman really, really poorly. She'll eventually leave because they're a fucking bum, and then they'll be like, "Well, I gave her everything,"
Hmm,
and it's
hmm.
like you really did not, and like
Yeah,
he
yeah.
even I think it is him who tells Patrick when they're in the woods. He's like, "We can go back. You can make me some food, give me a massage, and suck my dick, basically."
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So he's just like, "You're just my plaything. Like, just do what I'm telling you to do." But then he's
Yeah.
also like, "Oh, but I love you," blah blah blah. So I think it's just him trying
It's
to like
complex. It's complex. I will say he played a pretty layered character. That's why I went back and forth with like how I felt about him as a person in character. But that's what made me love the performance even more. I
I
was like, "Oh, that's good, man."
I just have to point out your cat Mallory is on your lap now. I can see her
Oh,
like
she's plopping up.
see I can see her like leaned over. People are gonna be like, "What is this goblin moving in the corner of your screen?"
Just
Because
a
I
cat.
could just see like the hump of her
There
back.
she
There
is.
she is.
She got a little screen time now.
Oh, she got. I always tell my cat Biscuit because he has a little white chin. Like you got
Uh,
cream on your chin,
she
buddy. So does she.
has actual food on her chin. We're moving on.
That's hilarious. But yeah, I think theirs is better, but I think there's still that like unknowing layer of like he doesn't even really know what like an equitable relationship is.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he
like it's
can't provide
controlling.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I think you're right in that they are more pure, more true, but also just there's still that layer of like, yeah, but he's a man. Kind of like when I was in my 20s and, you're out in the world, more people that are queer are more likely to be out when you're, out in public as opposed to like in school. So when guys started hitting on me, I would be like, at first I was like, whoa, they are so aggressive and they will not take no for an answer. I do not know why gay men are like that. And then one day I went, oh, that's how we all treat women.
That's just
I
just
was
a
like,
bad
oh, it's
problem.
because they're men.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
that's
exactly.
the problem. So I feel like there's kind of like that layer to this movie
Yeah,
of
yep,
like, no, it's
yep.
not it's not a gay or a straight, it's just a man thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, for sure. And you're right though. Like I think, but the moments with that were played, like I would say specifically from Patrick to Eli,
yeah.
those
Well, the
moments
companions
seem.
are truly, truly in love with them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
Which
know.
exactly, which, but I think even in that sense, like you could see how it was very much like a sweet thing between Eli and Patrick. Whereas with like Iris and Josh, when you're looking at it, you're like, oh man, that's fucked up. That it's just her programming that's just making her like this, like, you know what I mean? Like underneath it all, because also it just draws Patrick to fucking eat the taser. So.
Yeah, like the companionship was more real for them, but there was still
Exactly.
that level of like he bought a robot for this, so so
Yeah, it
there's
was
still
very
that
interesting
too.
though. But that's what I'm saying. I love that's because that was what made all of the sci-fi stuff for for me personally work
Hmm.
when this was introduced with all of the like when the romance aspect was there, it was like it was very strong. But then you added this sci-fi element with like kind of slid underneath, and then it was like, and then boom, straight horror with everything. I was like, it's a well-crafted movie, and again, reminding me of like how I felt watching Barbarian too, with like the flips kind of happening. Like the movie just unfolds and becomes different things, and Barbarian just is three different films in one
Mm.
movie. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But like in this one, it was like the tones kept flipping between like this is a horror, this is a comedy, this is a rom. You know what I mean? Like it was very interesting to see that, and I like the way that the filmmakers, the whole team, kind of made me feel as I was watching this film. You know, so that was
Yeah.
my I liked it. It was a very nice surprise because I didn't once I saw Warner Brothers was the distributor, I was kind of I lost a little bit of faith. I was like, oof, all right, let's see how this goes. But yeah, no,
Look,
nailed it.
I'll say this. My biggest criticism of the film is that Sophie Thatcher's hair should not be five different lengths.
There
That
was a I
that's
noticed
all I got.
the goof em up I saw was when after she's covered in blood, like when she gets to the forest, she's like full makeup and only her neck down is covered in blood.
Oh, that's because she's a fuckbot. No, sincerely. Amanda pointed out early in the movie, she goes in the shower, she takes a full shower, and then when she steps out, she's wearing a full face of perfect
Yeah, yeah,
makeup.
yeah, makeup, yeah.
And Amanda went, what the fuck? She's just got like a perfectly
I said
waterproof
the same
makeup.
thing.
And then an hour later, I tapped her and I went, it was because she's a robot. Her face just looks like that. That's
Uh-huh.
why,
Mhm.
So again, later, that's why. Because like under
But
all the grime, once you,
I didn't see her wipe her face or do anything, you know what I mean? But like but that's fair though. I will give you that and I will concede to that. Yeah, absolutely. That's
yeah. So
very yeah.
that was another piece of foreshadowing early on because she steps out of the shower
Mhm.
and she just has a perfect full face of makeup on.
Yeah.
And Amanda was like, okay, obviously this movie was made by men. And then later we were like, no, actually that was like pretty clever. That was a little,
Yeah,
hidden
yeah, it's like that's what I'm
layers
saying. It
there.
like it's strange how like I was just extremely impressed with everything as it wrapped up, you know what I mean? And now that I talk about it and think about it more, I'm just like even more impressed with it.
Yeah, it was interesting. I quite enjoyed it. So normally on full episodes we do a rating out of six. Perfect score is a 666 when all three of us are present to turn our keys and press the button. But this is a different episode. We do horns up or horns down, just simply should you see it or should you not.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give it a good solid horns up.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm gonna be right after you. That's solid horns up, man. That shit is so much fun. I mean, as if it wasn't obvious from our entire like gush about this whole movie, this whole episode. It's fucking great, man. It's a great time. I definitely could see how this would be a excellent date night movie. This is a really really fun fucking movie. And it's got a lot
Yeah.
of really really good messages in it too. Really good. You know, it's like it's competently written, very much effective use of the runtime too. Solid. It's like it's like 90 minutes, I think, if that. You're in,
97.
you're out, dude. It's fucking. It moves right along. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's good. I very much recommend it.
Absolutely, man. So, let's hit them with the plugs. I got them. If
You do it. I
I
started it.
no, I
You
know.
end it.
I'm asking. I'm asking. All right.
Oh
So.
no, I just ruined everything.
So, you guys can find us on Facebook at the Devil's Work Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at the Devil's Work Pod, TikTok, the Devil's Work Podcast, and you can email us about anything. You can talk directly to us. Ask us about I don't know what kind of robots we would we would want to have in our
That's a don't ask me that. That's loaded.
life.
It would look exactly like
You
Amanda,
can.
and it would be Amanda.
That's so good. So
I passed.
you can that's so funny. You
See,
can even
they thought they were gonna get me with that one.
you can email us at the Devil's Work Podcast at gmail.com. I am streaming on Twitch Saturdays. The times vary, but generally in the afternoon I try to get on and play some video games. We also do some watch alongs when I'm able to do those. Movies we've watched on or we've talked about on the show, kind of just hang out. It's that meme. Like, do you want to smoke weed? No. Okay. Do you want to watch me smoke weed? So,
That's funny, but mine is,
so,
do you want to play video games? Oh, do you want to watch me play video games?
there you go. So, yeah, you can do
I
watch me
was
do
the
both.
original streamer, bro.
So we could yeah, come hang out. It's twitch.tv/sideshow PSY, spell it right. And did I have YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. Like, subscribe, please. It helps us out a huge deal. And that little bell notification thingy, also a huge help. Those listening to this, go find us on YouTube by going to the link in the description. Or you can just look up the Devil's Work Podcast on YouTube. We're out there. We out here. Very much excited about what we've got coming up this year. Got a lot of really cool stuff in the background. Trying to get some fun goodies for some listeners if we can manage that in the near future. But uh, stick with us, and we may even have a really bigger announcement, starting with a P and ending with an Atreon towards the end of the year, hopefully.
Have
No
you ever
promises,
thought,
but
man, I sure would love to give those two bean burritos some of my money for some of bean burritos of their own?
yeah, we're
I'm
working in the
glad you enjoyed
background.
that. I really
We're
went on a
working.
ledge there.
We're working. We're working on it in the background. Please, hey, give us any support for free right now if you really enjoy what you're listening to. Thank you guys for listening. I think next week or this week you would have already listened to Versus by the time this drops, and I believe after that
Yes.
we have Fallen coming in like 2 weeks, which was
Yes.
such a goddamn fun. Oh my god, it was so much fun to revisit that movie, dude. I still think about that movie. Like it's a warm blanket of a movie for me. It's so fun.
Do, do you think about it night and day?
Night and day. All right,
Do
you
you
guys.
pray about the moon and the stars
All
and
right,
see
you guys.
that kind of ties in because Lucifer's the fallen star.
Yeah, there you
So, you know,
go. We did it.
Cal Rifkin Jr., baby. Let's get out of here.
All right, you guys. We'll see you guys. Take care. Deuces.
Bye. Don't fuck any strange robots I wouldn't fuck.
And if you don't get caught.
Yes.